All right. Ready? Okay. So are we on?
Yes, we're
All
on.
right. So, all right, guys. Welcome back. It's we're going to read the second half of chapter 27 in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm seeing a lot of good work on the read works. I left you guys feedback, so make sure you check that out. Good job, most of you guys. And I also appreciate some of the answers you guys gave for the baseball jerseys. As you can see, I got another one on. Heard a lot of really good things, and yes, you guys did meet a member of one of the teams, which was actually pretty cool. So, and actually, I did talk to him today. We had a little conference call, and he hoped you guys were listening to your parents too. And he's ready to pull his hair out because he's got 3 kids. He's got, I think, a 6th grader, a 4th grader, and I think a 2nd grader. And he's like, man, I'm ready to kill them. He's kidding, of course. So, anyways, all right. So here we are, chapter 27. This is Mike TV gets shrunk down. Remember all the stuff that was going on, and we're going to see what happened to Mike TV, okay? Hooray, cried Mr. Wonka. He's all in one piece. He's completely unharmed. You call that unharmed? Snapped Mrs. TV, peering at the little speck of a boy who was now running to and fro across the palm of her hand, waving his pistols in the air. He was certainly not more than an inch tall. Inches maybe about this big. You guys know what an inch is. We covered that, so I hope you guys can know how many inches in a foot. He shrunk, said Mr. TV. Of course he shrunk, said Mr. Wonka. What did you expect? This is terrible, wailed Mrs. TV. What are we going to do? And Mr. TV said, well, we can't send him back to school like this. He'll get trod upon. He'll get squashed. He won't be able to do anything, cried Mrs. TV. Oh, yes, I will, squeaked the tiny voice of Mike TV. I'll still be able to watch television. Never again, shouted Mr. TV. I'm throwing the television set right out the window the moment we get home. I've had enough of television. When he heard this, Mike TV flew into a terrible tantrum. He started jumping up and down in the palm of his mother's hand, screaming and yelling and trying to bite her fingers. I want to watch television, he squeaked. I want to watch television. I want to watch television. I want to watch television. For parents, I think that might sound a little familiar this week, right? Here, give him to me, said Mr. TV, and he took the tiny boy and shoved him into the breast pocket of his jacket and stuffed a handkerchief on top. Squeals and yells came from inside the pocket, and the pocket shook as the furious little prisoner fought to get out. Oh, Mr. Wonka, wailed Mrs. TV, how can we make him grow? Well, said Mr. Wonka, stroking his beard and gazing thoughtfully at the ceiling, I must say that's a wee bit tricky, but small boys are extremely springy and elastic. They stretch like mad, so what we'll do, we'll put him in a special machine I have for testing the stretchiness of chewing gum. Maybe that will bring him back to what he was. Oh, thank you, said Mrs. TV. Don't mention it, dear lady. How far do you think he'll stretch, asked Mr. TV. Maybe miles, said Mr. Wonka. Who knows, but he's going to be awfully thin. Everything gets thinner when you stretch it. You mean like chewing gum, asked Mr. TV. Exactly. How thin will he be? Asked Mrs. TV anxiously. I haven't the foggiest idea, said Mr. Wonka, and it doesn't really matter anyways because we'll soon fatten him up again. All we'll have to do is give him a triple overdose of my wonderful super vitamin candy. Super vitamin candy contains huge amounts of vitamin A and vitamin B. It also... Excuse me. Wow, I'm sorry you guys had to hear that. It also contains vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin F, vitamin G, vitamin I, vitamin J, vitamin K, vitamin L, vitamin M, vitamin N, vitamin O, vitamin P, vitamin Q, vitamin R, vitamin T, vitamin U, vitamin V, vitamin W, vitamin X, and believe it or not, vitamin Z. The only 2 vitamins it doesn't have are vitamin S because it makes you sick, and vitamin H because it makes you grow horns out of the top of your head like a bull. But it does have in a very small amount of the rarest and most magical vitamin of all, and that's vitamin Wonka. And what will that do to him? Asked Mr. TV anxiously. It'll make his toes grow out until they're as long as his fingers. Oh no, cried Mrs. TV. Don't be silly, said Mr. Wonka. It's most useful. He'll be able to play the piano with his feet. But, Mr. Wonka, no arguments, please, said Mr. Wonka. He turned away and clicked his fingers 3 times in the air. An Oompa Loompa appeared immediately and stood beside him. Follow these orders, said Mr. Wonka, handing the Oompa Loompa a piece of paper on which he had written full instructions. Percy, stop it. Sorry, he's going on. He's been licking his paws quite a bit, and we gave him a bath, and we're trying to... Percy, trying to get him to not lick it. So we don't know what's going on with him, so hopefully he's okay. So anyways, follow these orders, said Mr. Wonka, handing the Oompa Loompa a piece of paper on which he had written full instructions, and you'll find the boy in his father's pocket. Off you go. Goodbye, Mr. TV. Goodbye, Mrs. TV, and please don't look so worried. They all come out in the wash, you know, every one of them. At the end of the room, the Oompa Loompas around the giant camera were already beating their tiny drums and beginning to jump up and down to the rhythm. There they go again, said Mr. Wonka. I'm afraid you can't stop them singing. Little Charlie caught Grandpa Joe's hand, and the two of them stood beside Mr. Wonka in the middle of the long, bright rooms, listening to the Oompa Loompas, and this is what they sang. The most important thing we've learned, so far as children are concerned, is never, never, never let them near your television set. Or better still, just don't install the idiotic thing at all. In almost every house we've been, we've watched them gaping at the screen. They toll and slop and lounge about and stare until their eyes pop out. Last week in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor. You see the Oompa Loompas?
Yes.
They sit and stare and stare and sit until they're hypnotized by it, until they're absolutely drunk with all that shockingly ghastly junk. Oh yes, we know it keeps them still. They don't climb out the windowsill. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch and wash the dishes in the sink. But did you ever stop to think, to wonder just exactly what this does to your beloved tot? It rots the senses in the head. It kills imagination dead. It clogs and clutters up the mind. It makes a child so dull and blind he can no longer understand a fantasy, a fairyland. His brain becomes as soft as cheese. His powers of thinking rust and freeze. He cannot think, he only sees. All right, you'll cry. All right, you'll say. But if we take the set anyway, what shall we do to entertain our darling children? Please explain. We'll answer this by asking you what used the darling ones to do. How they used to keep themselves contented before this monster was invented. Have you forgotten? Don't you know? We'll say it very loud and slow. They used to read. They'd read and read and read and read and then proceed to read some more. Great Scott! Gadzooks! One half their lives was reading books. The nursery shelves held books galore. Books clattered up the nursery floor, and in the bedroom by the bed, more books were waiting to be read. Such wondrous fine, fantastic tales of dragons, gypsies, queens, and whales. And treasured tales and distant shores where smugglers rowed with muffled oars, and pirates wearing purple pants, and sailing ships and elephants, and cannonballs, and cannibals crouching round the pot, stirring away at something hot. It smells so good, what can it be? Good gracious, it's Penelope. The younger ones had Beatrix Potter, with Mr. Todd the Dirty Rotter, and Squirrel Nutkin, Pigling Bland, and Mrs. Tiggly Winkle, and Just How the Camel Got His Hump, and How the Monkey Lost His Rump, and Mr. Toad, and bless my soul, there's Mr. Rat and Mr. Mole, all books what used to be known, those children living long ago. So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away. And in its place you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall, then fill the shelves with lots of books, ignoring all the dirty looks, the screams and yells, the bites and kicks, and children hitting you with sticks. Fear not, because we promise you that in about a week or two of bearing nothing else to do, then I'll begin to feel the need of having something good to read. And once they start, oh boy, you watch the slowly growing joy that fills their hearts. They'll grow so keen, they'll wonder what they'd ever seen in that ridiculous machine, that nauseating, foul, unclean, repulsive television screen. And later, each and every kid will love you more than for what you did. P.S. Regarding my TV, we very much regret that we just simply have to wait and see if we can get him back his height. But if we can't, it serves him right. All right, so that's the end of chapter 28. We'll pick this up tomorrow. So what you notice the jersey I'm wearing right now, it says Mariners. So what I want you to do is figure out what city. I don't know why Mrs. Chen is moving right now, so I'm going to I want you to figure out what city the Mariners play in, what's the nickname for their city, and any interesting facts that you may find out about their city. For example, I want you to find out who wore number 51 and why he was so important and why he was so relevant to the Mariners. So that's pretty much all I have for today. I hope you guys are doing well, not too bored, and just listening to your parents, and do the work and keeping yourselves occupied, and don't fight with your brother, or don't fight with your sister. And until tomorrow, good night.